It generally feels like every single time I wake up and check what's going on with Roblox, there's another state government lining up to take a huge swing at Roblox's financial pie. Now, of course, you all remember the major situation over in Nevada, where an entire $12 million settlement was finalized back on April 15th, which seems to have set a very big precedent for other states like Alabama, West Virginia, and Indiana to try and follow. It honestly looks like these states are just treating lawsuits against the platform as some kind of infinite money glitch, where they throw the exact same copy and pasted accusations at the wall and wait for a multi-million-dollar check to clear the line to their own state budgets. Today, we're going to dive deep into yet another one of these situations because a brand new state has decided to step in and file their own sweeping legal action against the company. We're going to look at the specific claims being made by the state officials regarding child safety and corporate greed, and then we'll look at how the actual community is aggressively pushing back against these accusations. The timing of this entire lawsuit is completely baffling when you consider the safety updates that were literally just forced onto the platform over the last few weeks. So we're going to break down exactly why everyone is so frustrated with this legal action. So leave a like and after this video and let's get into it. Now to begin, we have to look at how this news first hit the community because an account known as the RTC posted a major update revealing that the US state of Oklahoma is officially suing Roblox, and it seems the Attorney General of the state is alleging that Roblox has deliberately put their own profits over child safety and allowed bad actors to actively target children. And right off the bat, this is the exact same type of rhetoric we've been hearing for the last few weeks from almost every of these attorney generals trying to sue Roblox. They always seem to use the exact same buzzwords about prioritizing corporate greed over the well-being of kids without ever taking a step back to acknowledge the multiple changes that the platform has already implemented to combat these exact issues, whether you like the Roblox higher-ups or not. But to truly understand the sheer audacity of this situation, we really need to look at the official press release from Thursday, May 14, 2026, where Attorney General Gunnar Drummond formally announced his lawsuit. Drummond stated that the platform is highly popular and targeted at children and teens, and claimed that according to the company itself, 2/3 of all children between the ages of 9 and 12 in the United States are actively engaged in gaming on the platform, which includes thousands of children residing specifically in Oklahoma. And while those user statistics might be accurate, the way Drummond tries to frame the company as this malicious entity completely ignoring safety is where things start to fall apart really fast. Because Drummond emphasized that despite the public assurances of parents, the company has consistently placed corporate profit over child safety and allowed the platform to become a hunting ground for bad actors. And he claims that they failed to implement adequate safeguards and failed to protect young users while not being honest with parents about the risks. Now this is where the state of Oklahoma is really showing how entirely disconnected they are from the current reality of the platform. Because anyone who's played a game between last month and right now knows that the higher-ups have implemented so many draconian safety features that it has actually broken the experience for a large portion of the player base. But Drummond keeps going, and the lawsuit specifically alleges that the company has allowed children as young as 5 to create accounts without any parental knowledge and exchange messages with strangers. But this doesn't make any logical sense, especially when there definitely shouldn't be a lack of parental knowledge in this situation, especially for kids as young as 5. All Drummond is doing here is completely shifting the blame away from the parents and placing it entirely on the platform, which is a very convenient way to frame the narrative when you're trying to win a lawsuit. Perhaps the boldest claim in this entire lawsuit details how the company supposedly prioritized rapid revenue growth while completely disregarding safety measures. They even cited sources claiming that employees reported feeling direct pressure to avoid making any changes that could reduce platform engagement, even when those specific changes would protect children. Drummond then stated that the willingness to sacrifice the well-being of children in pursuit of profit is unconscionable and indefensible. But let's actually take a second to talk about this supposed pursuit of profit and pressure to maintain engagement, because this is generally the most hilarious part of this entire legal situation. If the company was so terrified of losing engagement that they refused to protect kids, then why did they literally just push that huge platform update on April 30th that completely tanked their own metrics? We all literally just watched the stock drop by 20% in early May following their first quarter earnings report, specifically because they implemented stricter safety guidelines that push older inappropriate content away from younger users. They actually made decisions that they knew that would hurt their bottom line and reduce overall engagement solely for the purpose of compliance and child safety. We have seen a platform lose thousands of concurrent players, and we've seen entire communities get completely restricted, all because Roblox had no choice but to enforce these new guidelines with zero exceptions. So for Oklahoma to come out just a couple of weeks later and claim that the company refuses to sacrifice engagement for safety just proves that they did not even bother to update their drafts to reflect what is actually happening right now. It is highly ironic that the government is accusing a corporation of being greedy when the government itself is the one trying to extract millions of dollars from a company that just sacrificed a huge chunk of its own player base to appeal to legal sentiments. And this exact sentiment is echoing across the entire community right now because players and creators are completely fed up with these opportunistic lawsuits. We can see this clearly by looking at posts from a user named Talcow who pointed out that this year, the company has completely wrecked their platform for the sake of protecting children. They highlight the fact that they have added age verification and chat restrictions and ID verification while no longer making games free to publish, which were all highly controversial updates implemented strictly for child safety, and bring up the large statistic that the platform has lost over 20 million players since these updates came out. Talcow goes on to say that it is really admirable marvel how the platform has been made so much safer for children, despite how badly it has affected their overall player numbers, and they rightfully point out the utter hypocrisy of the situation by saying these lawsuits have the audacity to claim the company profits over child safety, when in reality, Oklahoma is the one profiting off a lawsuit over child safety. Then they finally hit the nail on the coffin, stating that just like all the other lawsuits, it is so obvious the intention here is to just rob the company of a few $1,000,000, because half of these lawsuits do not actually care about child safety, they just want money and are more greedy than the company itself. And another user named Yuma completely agrees, saying this is getting ridiculous because the company is not putting profits over safety, considering they literally lost 20 million players after putting every possible restriction on the platform. He also claimed that the company actively works with many law enforcement agencies like the FBI to assist in investigations, and they noted in 2024 alone, the company has submitted over 24,000 reports to the NCMEC. The Yuma concluded by stating they do more for child safety than any tech company on earth and are still getting slammed with these bogus lawsuits. It is wild to see the community actually defending the company for once, because normally everybody loves to complain about the updates, but when faced with a blatant cash grab from the state government, players have actually banded together to point out the actual facts and the actual data that disproves these basic claims. And the defense of the company just keeps continuing, because the username Nitso chimed in to say they cannot even chat to anyone anymore and they added age verification, so what else can they possibly do, and told the government to just leave them alone. It really shows how suffocating these new safety features feel for normal players when the community is actually begging the government to realize that the platform's already been locked down as much as humanly possible. There's literally nothing else they can add without completely shutting down the service for good, because they have already stripped away so many communication features that it barely even functions as a social platform for certain age groups anymore. This is the grim reality of how the legal system works for major corporations, because it is almost always cheaper and easier for them to just write a $15 million check to make the state of Oklahoma go away, rather than spending years and even more money fighting it out in a prolonged courtroom battle that would just generate even more negative press. The states know this and the politicians know this, which is why we're seeing this endless parade of copycat lawsuits claiming the exact same things using the exact same outdated evidence while completely ignoring the reality of the situation. So all in all, this situation entirely exposes the fact that government entities are completely willing to ignore actual platform restrictions if it means they can score a lucrative settlement check and grab some good PR headlines. Instead of working with companies to develop functional safety standards, these politicians are just waiting for an opportunity to strike and line their own pockets while pretending to care about the children. It's honestly just a super frustrating cycle to watch, because the actual players are the ones who end up suffering the most when the platform is forced to completely change its core features just to avoid another random legal shakedown. If things keep going exactly like this, we're probably going to see every single state in the country trying to grab a piece of the action until there's literally nothing left of the actual game for anyone to enjoy. And I'd like to know your thoughts on this entire Oklahoma lawsuit situation in the comments down below. Do you think the lawsuits are a little cash grab for the government and are only making Roblox more restrictive, or do you believe these lawsuits actually have some merit for the safety of the community? Now before I end this video, I want you guys to leave a like, hype this video, and help me get to 20,000 subs before the end of this year. And with that being said, thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.